Hello all, welcome. This is Ravi Raj. I am a part of the developer relations team at FreshWorks. In this session, we are going to build our first FreshWorks app. In the previous session, you might have already seen what is the FreshWorks developer platform and what is the necessity for it and how an app built with the FreshWorks developer platform will look like and each part in the anatomy of the app, right? So with this session, we are mostly going to concentrate on some of the capabilities of the Freshworks developer platform. So with this session segment, we will develop an app that creates a ticket in Freshdesk Helpdesk portal based on the user inputs given in the app, right? So before we jump into that, let's see what all the prerequisites we may need. So you should have a trial account in Freshdesk account to uh, run and test the app. So you might have already created an account. If not, you can go and create an account at the Freshdesk website. You should have an API key for a Freshdesk user. So this is basically you just have to go to the Freshdesk portal and obtain a API key by the steps shown in the GIF. We can go and see now. Let me show you. Um, this is probably one the dashboard we will land when you log into your Freshdesk help desk portal. Go to this right top corner of your profile and click on the profile settings, and it will load on page where you can get your API key. Right, this is my API key. I'm going to just keep it. Let's go back to our session. Like here, so we have completed the prerequisites we may need before jumping into building the app. Let's go to the next session. In this section, uh, we are just going to get the sample code that we already have for this app. So we have a skeleton built, and we're just going to add some part of it and run the app to see how it works, right? So clone the repository from this repository URL. You can go to this in the GitHub and click on clone or download and copy the link. Then you can go to any directory where you have to uh, run the app and git clone and paste the URL that you have copied and click enter and you will download the app, right? So I already have the app ready, so I'm not going to clone now. So let's go back. So once you have downloaded the code from this repository, now you can open it in your um, code text editor or IDE and go to this directory. Inside this marketplace sample apps, we'll have a folder called play along and then exercise and fundamentals level 1. So this is where we are going to start the app. So you can open the app exist in level 1 in your IDE or something. So I'm going to open the say app level 1 in my Visual Studio Code, right? So this is where my app exists. So let's go back. So we have downloaded the code that is ready. So let's go to the next step. Particular section, we are going to learn how we can build a user interface. So Basically, our app is a sidebar app that will show a simple form with some required fields for the ticket creation. Right? So, these fields will be like ticket title, description, and email address, and then we will have a button to create a ticket. Right? So let's copy this HTML snippet and paste it in the app/template.html file in your app. So the snippet will help generate a HTML form to collect the user input. Right? So let's copy this code and paste it in the code editor. Go to app template.html and we have a placeholder here where we can paste the code snippet. So and then let's go back to the steps. So after pasting, you can see that some of the classes and uh, some of the styles are used here. So these are basically uh, have Bootstrap version 3.3 framework inside the app to match it with the Freshdesk Mint UI. So the user interface of app that are mostly published will have should be consistent with the Freshdesk products UI. So we have the Bootstrap version 3.3 framework inside the app uh, attached, and you can also import the Freshdesk app style sheet, which will already have it in the boilerplate to ensure this class names can be used. That will make the UI unity with the Freshdesk product. Right? Let's go to the next step. How we can create a ticket. So now that we have a UI built in our app, we need to write the logic now. So the logic will be basically to create an API. To create a ticket, we are going to make an API call with the form inputs. So let's copy paste this particular code snippet in the app/app.js file in your app, right? So let's go to the Visual Studio Code and app and app.js where you have a template at line 31. So now we have pasted. You can see some code here. Uh, let's go back to the steps and see what we have done. So this function uses something called client.request.post to make the API call to Freshdesk, right? So let's see what it is. Freshdesk request API is basically a HTTP client that is used in built with the Freshworks developer platform. This is mostly be used to not to expose any sensitive information such as API keys or user credentials, passwords, or whatever the third-party domains will ask for. Okay? And then also it comes with the benefit of CORS support, so that your request will not get failed because of the browser. So this will also have some limitations and some guidelines to follow. So now we can go through this documentation and see the rest of them. Let's go back to the our function and how we have used it. So here we have client.request.post and we have some templating and then the complete URL. Now you can see in the headers we have the similar template and then some body. Within this body we can see that from the form we have passed some of the parameters that are passed to the body, and then we have success and failure cases. So, and then let's go to the next function where we have to call this particular method from when the app is loaded. uh, right, so let's go to line 24 in app.js file. So now we have called this function here. Let's uncomment this method. So when you click on create ticket button, so with the form fields, this particular method will be called to create a ticket. Let's go back to our steps and let's go to the next section. So in this section, we have seen some template strings in the uh, request API in the previous method, right? So we are going to see what are they and why it is used like this, and what is actually it is doing in the app. So installation parameters are basically one of the feature in the Flutter developer platform, and it will allow you to get any some of the parameters from the user. It will be fetched from installation times. So when the admin installs one of your app, and you can get some installation parameters, just like you get sign up details or login credentials when you go to a website or open an app for the first time. So these installation parameters will be accessed in the app. It can be accessed in any part of the app, but some of the installation parameters needs to be secure, right? So something like API key or your username, passwords, some phone numbers, or uh, any sensitive information that needs to be securely carry forward, right? So within the app, if we have accessed these installation parameters, they might be visibly uh, accessible in the browser developer tools, right? So we have a feature for that along with this installation parameter called, you can mark it as secure, so that these particular installation parameters will become secure. You can also see that it doesn't exist for Freshness subdomain, right? So let's see what it is like. In this app we have two installation parameters. One is called Freshness API key and another is Freshness subdomain. Let's do copy paste this particular JSON snippet to config.iparam.json. So let's copy, go back to our Visual Studio Code, config iparam.json, and whichever content is there, you just replace it with this particular content, save the file, and go back to our step. So now we can see that we can now go back to our method and realize that in the URL, what are the this uh, particular template strings we are doing, right? So now we can see that it is a Freshness subdomain that we have used in the installation parameter. Also we can see Freshdesk API key that are again from the installation parameter. So we have just tried to access them with this template. Our platform will directly transform these installation parameters and replace wherever this template string is used. So this is how you can use the uh, installation parameters securely, right? So even if you uh, view it in the browser network tab, it will not be visible and only you can see this template string, right? So without much ado, let's go and run the app to see what happens, right? So in this section, we are going to run the app that we have prepared and test in Freshdesk, right? So let's start the app with the FTK run command. So let's go back to our Visual Studio Code and open the terminal. FTK run. I hope you can see the terminal in the bottom. So once I run, you can see few lines have been printed, and one of them will be uh, this custom configs. So let me copy the link and go back to our browser and open the link. So this will return a page where you can, it will look like a customized page, and it will have the installation parameters that we have entered, that they are Freshdesk API key and Freshdesk subdomain, right? So we just have to fill in those details to run the app. So let me grab my API key and let me type my subdomain. This is literally just go to your Freshdesk portal, and whatever is in the prefix of freshdesk.com is your subdomain, right? So I have typed my subdomain from there, and just click on the install button. So this will not do anything else, just to notify you that the values have been successfully stored. uh, this is just to replicate how it will work for the customer, right? When the customer install the your app, when it is published to the marketplace, or you install it as a custom app in your own portal, uh, you will go through the similar step when you install the app, and these couple of installation parameters that you have listed will be uh, asked as a field with the empty value that you have to print, and then you will go through install step, and it will be successfully installed on your Freshdesk portal, and you can use it regularly. So to replicate the same, we have this UI. Now we can close it. uh, this is a step to uh, install the uh, enter the installation parameters, right? So let's go to our IDE, and I will show you where these values will be stored. If you see, once you run the app, there will be a folder created called .fdk. This will be the most of the metadata will be stored, and you can click on the file called local store, where you can see meta field with the Freshdesk API key and Freshdesk subdomain, which we have entered in the installation parameter. Also, you can see that this particular value is marked as secure. So for local testing, this is where the all the metadata will be stored for the app, right? So once it is stored, you don't have to go back to the same custom configs page and do it every time. So once it is done, it will be stored in the local store file, and unless it is removed, it will always be there, and you don't have to fill it again and again. So we have run the app. Let's go back to see what is the next step. We have to test it in the real time, right? So we will go to Freshdesk and open the ticket page to see the app. Let's go to Freshdesk and click on the second icon which says tickets, and you will see a lot of tickets. Maybe you can go to a particular ticket, any one ticket. This is one of the ticket in the Freshdesk helpdesk portal. You can see the ticket and the particular ID of the ticket, and some subject and everything. You can, in the right side you have contact details and any other options, and if the app is loaded here it will be appear here. Why it is not appearing? Maybe we have missing something, so we have to append div equals true query parameter. So once we enter, you can see that our level 1 app has been appeared here in the right side, right? So to not to clutter, let me close this contact details and open level 1. So we can now see our app listed here. It says it has 3 fields and a button. So once we have loaded the app, what are the next steps? So the lab app loads on the right side. So we can see the same app in the right side, and which with all the specification from manifest.json. So what does it mean, right? So let me go back to the app and show you manifest.json. So this is literally the configuration page where you will configure where the app has to load, and which product it uses, and which version of the platform it has, and if you have something else like dependencies, or we have to whitelist some domains or anything, uh, most of the configuration will go here. So these are particular configuration for the app, right? So here let's see what we have. So it has platform version 2.0. So it is using our platform version 2.0. Previously we had a 1.0 which has been deprecated now. Um, so and then we have product. In this product we have Freshdesk. Within Freshdesk we have multiple locations where you can load the app. So you have to mention the location as well. In this location, we have ticket sidebar, which is actually the location where the app is loaded now. You can see, and then URL. URL will redirect to the HTML file. It will be the your root HTML file, and then you have an icon. Why you have an icon is basically when you load an app, when it is not loaded, it will have just the icon to recognize where the app is. So we can see in the Freshdesk portal, we can see that the icon is here, and it is listed here, right? So when it is closed, you can simply see where the app is with the icon. You can also have a custom SVG file to have your own customized icon as well, right? So we have an app. Let's go back to our step, and then we are going to open the app and enter the requested ticket details to create a ticket. Uh, in this GIF file, they again how shown how it can be tested. So let's go and see it in real time. Go back to our helpdesk portal. Maybe let's type some uh, title, test title, and let me type description, test description, and some email address, some example.com. So let me create a ticket, right? So when we create a ticket, so you'll get a notification that the ticket is successfully created. So where we can see this is, you can go to tickets, and you can see a ticket has been created a few seconds ago. Let me click and find, yeah, it has the test title and test description which we have typed before, and it has been just been created a few seconds back, and some of the status and priority has been set by default. So this is how a ticket will be created, right? So has been done. So let's get to next step. So congratulations, you have to pat on yourself, your back yourself, right? So we have just completed our first escape. We have learned a few things. Let me go back and recap what we have learned with this app, right? So if we go to the previous steps. So basically we have had prerequisites of trust desk account and API key, everything we have prepared, and then we have cloned the app which had some skeleton which we made some changes over it, and we have entered some of the uh, styles to make our user interface better, and we have some required fields. So we have also matched it with our bootstrap classes that will match Frustdesk Mint UI, and then we have uh, written the logic to create a ticket uh, by fetching the details from the form, right? And then we have used a request API. You definitely have to go and check out the documentation to see what is request API and what are all the options it has, what is its full capability, right? So you will have to thoroughly use the request API whenever you have to make API call to your own server or any third-party server or anything. And then we have called that function, and then interestingly installation parameters, it is the magic, right? So we have imported couple of installation parameters that we can ask from the user on the installation times, and then it is API key and subdomain. We have typed some details like name, description. These are the things we can customize on your use, right? So you have some text type. You can go and check out the documentation for installation parameters. We have a various number of types that you can use for text, number, phone number, email, and many number of types are there, which will comes with a pre-built validation and everything. Uh, by required means, without this field, you cannot install the app. So you can mention required true whenever required, needed. Um, and then you can mention secure true. This is another magic inside magic, right? So you have some uh, installation parameters that can be passed securely with the browser to the API, whichever API you are using, right? So that can be uh, used with this template strings, and then you can also see here we have used with the something called the encode. What encode will do here is like you have to in basic uh, authentication, the value has to be encoded in base64, which this encode method will automatically do for you if you use in this particular format. So and then we have filled in our installation parameters, and then we have went to our first help desk portal and appended with the query parameter to run the app. We have run the app with all the necessary required fields and then submitted to create a ticket. We have saw one notification to confirm that ticket has been created. We have seen one notification, right? So what is that? Uh, what is actually that came inbuilt with the product? How the product was knowing that we have created a ticket? So let's see in the code what we have done, right? So when we created a ticket, we used client.request to create a API with the headers and body and everything. In the success, something we have called show notification method, right? So we passed a couple of parameter arguments to it, and it showed notification. On success also we have a notification. In the error case also we have a notification. You can also notice that we also have console error. So the once we receive any errors, it will be printed to the browser console. But what does show notification does, right? So let's go to this method, which is also in the same file. Um, this method, what it does, it uses one of the fastest developer platform feature called the interface API. In interface API, there are a lot of methods are available, and you have one of them will be show notify, which will get some of the options as a type and message, and it will show a notification. We can check the same in the documentation. Let's go and check the documentation. If you scroll down to some of the basic features, you can find the interface API, where you have a lot of methods as I have mentioned. There is something called show notifications. You can see that we have interface API that will trigger a notification on given type and message. Then you have, it is also a promise, so you can handle whether it got succeeded, or you can also console log the error, so that you will know whether it succeeded or not. So it will show a notification, and it also has something called title, so you can have a title and then a message as well. So you can see info, it has multiple types, right? Warning and danger for errors, you can use it. So these are some of the types. So this is something you can go and check out. You can modify for and check how it works. You can also check out what are the other interface API. So, and we haven't covered much of the front end uh, parts. You can also check out in the documentation what all the other parts we have, and you can also try incorporating them in the same app. You can maybe expand the use case to make the app behave something on upon some events, or you can change the interface somehow else, or you can show uh, something, some cat image on the success instead of a notification. Maybe you can add some more fun to the app, right? So we have mostly learned essential features here. Uh, we also have a lot of features, like some advanced feature like data storage. Our platform comes with our internal data storage, and then OAuth support. OAuth is one of the authentication mechanism called open authentication. So that is also supported in the platform, and there are instance APIs. So you will go and learn these things in the next session. Thank you for listening. Thank you all.